Everyone, welcome to my channel. I am the Giant Rat. Today is Tuesday, May 5th. Revenge of the 5th. The dark side of Star Wars Day, the day after Star Wars Day. I actually recorded a vlog for you all yesterday on Star Wars Day to release today, and as I was editing it last night, it was so bad. And it was kind of, actually, which is not typical for me, and mainly around the Star Wars subject. Now, any of you that know me know that I love Star Wars. I'm very passionate about Star Wars. That's basically what it was about. I was just explaining that people typically in Gen X or Star Wars fans themselves wrap a lot of passions around Star Wars. I was explaining the reason for that. It had to do with mythology and other stuff, and that's basically what Star Wars is. It's a modern mythology. Started out for Gen X, but with all the series that came out, sequel series, prequel series, it stretches across basically 3 or 4 generations of fandom. That was basically my take. I watched the video and I thought to myself, I really didn't have that much to say. That's basically what I said, what I just said in like a minute right there. And I stretched it out to like 20 minutes. I started to get frustrated because I was trying to fumble my words and not find I couldn't find the right words to really express that the way I wanted to. Basically what I just said covers it. There's not much else to say. People are passionate about Star Wars because it is their generation's mythology, for each generation more or less. The later generations, it's not so much a mythology. It evolved. There's still something special about it. In a nutshell, that's why people are passionate about it. It transcends just a movie into a story that encompasses more than just something like Avatar or something like that, a good sci-fi film. It actually was intentionally written to be the modern mythology. And that's how it was handled by the various directors that were involved, writers, and so on and so forth. That's it. That's the nutshell. That's how I feel about Star Wars. I went into a rant again about what Disney is doing with what I now call Star Wars Land and Disneyland. You can't call it Galaxy's Edge anymore because the story that made it Galaxy's Edge is gone. There's no canon there. There's no story being told. It's just a photo op. Like a big massive photo op with some rides. Basically, an amusement park land. Not really the type of stuff that you typically see at a theme park. I mean, in fairness, it's kind of like Fantasyland. Fantasyland doesn't really tell a story. It doesn't have a cohesive thing going on other than old storybook characters that Disney made movies out of, that they've crafted rides that just follow the movie narrative. And in essence, other than the rides themselves, which absolutely don't make sense anymore in that land, that's basically what Star Wars Land is in Disneyland. And that's fine. I think it'll do well with fans. They'll get to go take their pictures with stormtroopers and Darth Vader and all that stuff. I as an original Star Wars fan, I don't like the sequel series. The magical thing about the sequel series, the really cool thing that they did do, was Galaxy's Edge. They created a new story that bridged the gap between movies. That was really awesome, actually, that they did that, the concept. If they did something like that with the original trilogy characters for Star Wars Land and Disneyland, now that would be awesome. Retool do a new overlay for the rides, that'd be great. create a story between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, my friends, that would sell tickets. I don't think they're going to do that. It's too much money for them to spend. They're not in the business of doing that anymore. They're not doing special stuff. They're just doing enough. And that's what they've done with Star Wars Land and Disneyland. Enough of that. Like I said, it's just a photo op at this point. It's no longer telling the story. It is what it is. Next time I go to Disneyland, if that's the way it is, honestly, I probably will not even go there. I probably won't even go to that land. There's enough really great things that Imagineers put effort in 15, 20 years ago and beyond to enjoy at Disneyland than to enjoy some cheap imitation of a concept that they executed very well. I would dare say Galaxy's Edge was the highlight of the sequel series. Better than the movies themselves. They actually made some of the movies better, in my opinion. Now, without that, to be honest with you, I could go to a comic book or horror or sci-fi convention and get a picture with a better looking Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia and Darth Vader there than what they will present to you in Star Wars Land at Disneyland. Today is Revenge of the Fifth. I have been watching the Darth Maul cartoon on Disney Plus. I'm not going to get into the plot line. I'm not going to get into the story. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched it. If you're into that stuff, you're into Star Wars and you're into any of the prequel era stuff, which original trilogy guy, I do like Darth Maul and I like the story of Darth Maul. They've done a great job in this animated series of basically taking the concept that we saw in the Solo movie and fleshing it out a little bit to make Maul this gang boss type deal who is basically has elaborately created this persona, this gang boss thing in his plot for vengeance. The vengeance might not be what you think it is. It might not be everything you think it's about. I would encourage anyone and everyone who is into Star Wars to watch it. It's a very well done show. As is, to be honest with you, most of the Star Wars animated shows that have been on Disney Plus. I think they've done a great job with those things. The series sometimes leave a little bit to be desired. I started to go back and try and watch the Acolyte, for example. This would be my third time trying to get through it. Man, the series ends with the Acolyte. There are great moments in the Acolyte, entertaining moments. It's basically written almost like fan fiction. It's not very well written, in my opinion. I remember at the time when that came out, there was some controversy with different things. I don't know if there was I'm not really sure. It was a gay thing or something, a lesbian thing. I don't even care about any of that. That doesn't mean anything to me at all. I just want to see a good story. You kind of get to a point where I don't think it just doesn't seem very well done. Like the story itself, there's something about it. It just feels fan fiction-y, like something that someone would have written back in the mid-90s and posted on one of those fan fiction sites that emo girls and guys would like post these fantasy stories. I don't even remember what they used to call them. I remember seeing them. I had a daughter at the time, my oldest daughter. She was kind of like that. I don't know that she wrote fanfic on those sites or read them or what. I just remember, I think I remember her reading that stuff. It might have been around, at the time I think Harry Potter was the big thing, and that might have been when it was around. But this just struck me as like that type of story, and it's just not, it's not very good. Like I said, some of the characters are pretty strong, pretty good. Like the concepts and stuff, and the way that the Jedi are, I mean, it just sort of continuity in spots, and it just doesn't, it's kind of like the second of the sequel movies. It kind of it's the spirit of what we know as Star Wars, more or less, in some ways. Anyways, down the rabbit hole here of Star Wars stuff. Really wasn't the purpose today. All I wanted to do was just stop in, say hi at this point, say Revenge of the Fifth, and I hope you enjoy your day and your week. I do want to say, like, today was Star Wars Day. I had to call my insurance company, and I got to talking to the insurance agent, and one of my emails, the email that I do a lot of my stuff with insurance and other stuff, has the word Star Wars in it. And she started reading back my email. She started chuckling, and she said, I said, I didn't say anything. I kind of had a long pause, and she said, oh, sorry, I'm just reading your email, what your email address is, and I just watched Star Wars like a couple hours ago, and said, I've been a Star Wars fan since '77 and all this stuff. You know, she just was going on a little bit. And I said to her, you know, it's Star Wars Day. It makes sense. The entire world is watching Star Wars. So I'm going to end on that. Star Wars has the ability to unify us, to be this, whether you watch the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, it has the ability to unite us. And over the last, I don't know how many years, it's seemingly divided us. And, you know, especially on social media, which half of that's fake anyways, more. It's got the ability to unite us. When the movie comes out, people of all ages and all cultures and everything just leave everything behind and escape for a couple hours and go watch those movies. Unfortunately, the way people digest their media nowadays, I don't think that happens as much anymore. I think a lot of people just watch stuff on streaming and then hop on social media and microanalyze everything. And I think that we've lost a lot by abandoning the movie experience. And I don't blame anyone for that. That has to do with our society and our government and our culture now. Kind of changed a lot of things. You know, the way that certain things went down around that has really changed how we communicate and interact as a society. So that's also affected Star Wars. So I don't think we're going to find that unifying era for Star Wars anymore. We're always with everything, every aspect of our lives. We're looking and microanalyzing everything and looking to get at each other's throats with it. And I guess I would say on this Revenge of the Fifth, Star Wars Day thing, I hope that we learn to come together, even as a fandom or in various fandoms. We learn to come together. We're all people. We're all imperfect. We all have our own opinions that conflict with some other opinion from some other, and that's okay. Our differences are not wrong and shouldn't necessarily put us at each other's throats. All right, I've carried on about this enough. Go watch some Star Wars, or, you know, whatever you're doing with your day, and have fun. Enjoy your day as best you can. I know it's not possible for everyone, but do your best. I'm gonna get going. I'm on my way to work here. Thanks again for tuning in, for checking it out, checking the video out. Dreams, grass, churros. We'll see you on Thursday.